Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Athletic School podcast. Today it's a solo episode again. It's summer, so a lot of student athletes are off, right? They're just doing something outside of school and organized sports. So I want to talk about on how to create your perfect off season. Personally, I believe that the off season it's very important to have successful on season. Um, and then I I created a few topics here to bring it up to you guys. Some things that you guys can do in the off season, and that can be over the summer, but also in spring or fall, whatever your off season is. So let's jump to the topics. The first one it is reflection. So reflect, evaluate your past seasons, identify areas for improvement, and look at your performance. Right. So how you start the season, how you're feeling throughout the season, and at the end of the season, how you're feeling, and then that goes mentally, physically, um, things maybe about your game that you could improve, things that you did good. So it's literally reflecting. I would recommend sitting down with yourself and maybe with a teammate or maybe your coach if that's a possibility, and write it down. Make things very clear and evaluate and reflect on your past seasons first. That's the first big step. Second one, I think it's very important to rest and recover. In the beginning, especially, you have to take some time to rest and recharge. I think that's very helpful, and we all need that. I'm all about working very hard, but I also think you have to recover even harder. So maybe first 2 or 3 weeks I would do something lighter, focus on recovering and recharging. But again, that's a ongoing thing. I think you have to train very hard and then have to recover harder. Um, Third point, it's injury prevention, and I think it's time for you to get ready for the season. The season sometimes it's very short, and it's very heavy on our bodies and even on our minds. So it's very important for you to address some injuries that you might had in the past, even some chronic issues that you had, and it's time to to get that on track so that doesn't bother you during the season. So I would definitely prevent that. If you have the chance to work with a physical therapist or something like that, I would definitely do it. But if you don't, I think there's a lot of different things that you can do. I'm very big in biomechanics, and doing a little bit of a different training. I don't really believe in lifting a lot. I think you have to move our body the way that we play the sport that we do. um, so I would take a look in biomechanics, and just focus on preventing injury. The fourth one, it's skill development. It's a time for you to focus on develop. During the season, we don't have time. Everyone is doing the same thing. So I think if you want to become an outlier, you have to develop your skills on the off season. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. Um, you know, I think the off season should be harder than the on season during the season because that's when we have to recover. We have to focus on training harder than ever. During games, you have to be ready, right? So it's time to prepare yourself towards right now during the off season. So I would focus on skill development. Look again, go back to your reflection and your evaluation that you did with yourself, and take a look at the things that you want to improve in your game, right? And it doesn't matter what your sport is. It goes from soccer to hockey, basketball, football, whatever. There's always something that you can improve. You are not perfect. Even the greatest ones, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Kobe, all these guys, they were always trying to improve, and in the off season, that's when they did that. The fifth one is strength and conditioning. It's time to get ready. Again, I think this is a little bit similar to recover. I think it is an ongoing thing, right? If I'm running, um, if I run today 10K, and I don't run again for another month, that's not gonna help me. So it is an ongoing thing. So I would keep that in mind. You know, it's time for you to maybe, if you need build some muscle, you have to be perfect when the season starts. There's no time when the season starts. So right now, it's the time. Um, if you're not working, someone else is working, and when you meet him or her, they're gonna beat you because they are working harder. So go back to work as soon as you stop listening to this podcast, or maybe you are working out and listening to it right now. um Next one, nutrition and hydration. Very very cliche, but very very important. I don't want to get into the nutrition side of it, but I think, if you wanted to train hard, if you wanted to get results, you have to be hydrating, you have to have a good nutrition. I was reading the book by Tom Brady a long time ago, and the two main things that he was talking about that he did throughout his career was recover and hydration. That's it. um, that's the main things that made him a better player, a better athlete. He was able to improve his game because he was hydrating, because he was recovering correctly. He was able to do more than the other guys if he ever had to, and that made him become who he is nowadays. Next one, mental training. Um, Again, focus, confidence, resilience, all those things. And it comes to your mentality, your mindset. If you're listening to the podcast, that's huge. I think that's a big big step. I would recommend you on reading books. That's something that has helped me throughout my life a lot. And if we study the great ones, they are always reading books, they are always meditating, they are always focusing on on the present moment, on getting the right mindset, because we have to be able to be comfortable when things are uncomfortable, right? And it gets to a point that everyone does the same training. So the only way we can overcome challenge and we can overcome our competitors is by having the right mindset, the right mentality. So I would focus on that, and do whatever you have to do. It's watch YouTube videos. It's watching. It's uh, watching a class, or something like that. A podcast, reading a book. There's so many things that you can do to improve your mental game. Um, that there's no lack of content out there. So I think if you want to do it, it's pretty easy. Everything's out there. The athletic school, we post a lot of different things on social media on how you can become a better athlete. Um, and then one of the last ones, cross training and variety. I think that's something that's very we're not really used to that, but I think it's very important to explore some other types of training. That's how I started with biomechanics. Personally, I don't like going to the gym and doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I do like to try different things, right? It's going for a run, it's doing a hit workout, it's maybe you know just going to a treadmill and doing a sprint there. Um, I would love to learn tennis. I tried golf, but I just can't do it. But maybe trying other sports. I think there's a lot that we can learn from other sports, other people in the sports industry, other athletes. I think it also helps us prevent burnout from the sport that we are in. Um, that's something very common, especially here in the U.S. We see a lot of student athletes that are in high school, and then once it's about to go to college, they've been doing really good, but they don't want to go to college because they just can't deal with the sport anymore. So I think it helps avoiding burnout as well. And the last one, personal growth and well-being. Dedicate some time for personal interests that you have, hobbies, social connections outside the sport. Remember, before um, we became student athletes, we are human beings, right? It's gonna get a day that we're not gonna be able to play the sport that we want anymore. So I think it's very very important for us to create the social life outside the sport as well. For me, it was the podcast, it was the athletic school a few years ago. But it can be reading, it can be going for a walk, or I don't know, I like to go to different coffee shops and try different types of coffee. And I know there's a million and thousands of hobbies out there. I'm not really big in like having a hobby. I think it's all about creating a habit that will make me a better person, because I think that I'm still in a phase of my life that I'm still growing, and I still have a lot of things that I want to accomplish. So I think having hobbies that will help me in a way get where I wanted to get is very, very helpful. And again, I think having those hobbies outside the sport that you have, it might help you become a better athlete in the sport that you have and have a better season, right? So that's it. I think that's the way that you can create a perfect off season, so you can improve, so you can grow. So when the season comes, you are an outlier. You can have a lot of good results. Remember, you have to work hard. There's no secret. So work hard, recover harder, and get out of your comfort zone. And that goes to mentality and and physicality as well. It's doing a harder training. Oh, it's 30 seconds of a plank. Well, let me do 45. Um, well, I'm reading this book and it's 10 pages a day. Let me read 15 today. And things like that. I think that's creating that growth mindset. That's something that I always talk about in the athletic school. I hope you guys like this episode. It's a short episode, but I like to keep it short, very straightforward. There's no secret to success. Remember, success, it's a rent that it's due every day. So if you were successful yesterday, that doesn't mean nothing. You have to win the success again today. So remember about that. Work hard, recover harder, and I hope your off season goes very, very good. I hope you sweat a lot during the off season, so you can gain a lot of good results during the season.